Ulf Sive, Communications Officer of the STM Validation Project, Swedish Maritime Administration, the longest title today.
Thank you. And is this? Yes, now it's working. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to talk about Baltic. The Baltic Sea, the testbed of the maritime future. Okay, let's start rolling up the sleeves and let's define what is the maritime future. Could the Baltic have a role? Let's see. What is in the current of maritime? This is the current situation. We don't like that, do we? There are about as many aviation moves in the air as there are ship movements on the sea in Europe. And they have 30 accidents over the year, and we have 700. We could do better, and I really appreciate when Harry were talking about things we do to improve safety. That's one part to improve in the future. The future is also full of these things. So now I'm going to activate you a little bit. So how many of you have ridden an Uber? Good. How many have been on Facebook? Quite a lot. How many have been shopping at Alibaba? More than you would expect. And how many has, look at now, offered their own housing at Airbnb? That's good. And how many have used Airbnb to book? So, a lot of you are already taking part of the future, and that's good. Was shown in the slide of Telenor Connection was that they don't have anything but the digital layer. So, how will that work in shipping, in the maritime arena? That's part of the future. Is this the future? No, this is actually the past. This is how goods were packaged once upon a time. I came to the port. I actually worked there carrying cartons with bananas. I've been putting on slings around steel plates. I've been shoveling all different kinds of stuff that you wouldn't like touching. And that was how things were used, and ships were staying in port for a long time because they had to. It took time to load and unload. And what happened? Somebody was smart, invented this. A standardized format with a defined interface so that all interaction could be done through that interface. And today you have containers for everything. You put cars in containers instead of when it's not a large volume. I love the bag-in-box they have for containers where you could put fluids. That's has happened. Okay, let's look more at the past, or actually the current situation. This is the way we communicate. Papers, reports, fax machines. Fax machines is an advancement. Telex is also good. So what are we looking at the future? We are looking at more containers. But these containers contain information, standardized information containers with standardized interfaces. If we can put all the maritime information in containers, then we can get handling it much more effective than reinventing new ways of unloading and unloading the information. And everybody can make out whatever they want. If they want paper, let's make them put them on paper. So what we're looking at is a communications process change that goes from point-to-point information. That's how we do it today. I want to know some information, I ask for that information. But it's going to change. It's going to be more about sharing information. Whenever information is changed, I share it. And somebody who needs it will take that and bring it down when they need it. And why is this happening? And what's going on? Well, the whole system is changing. It used to be that every ship was a system. That was it. He left port, she left port, sorry. And then she was out there doing all her stuff. And if she was competing with all the other systems, if she would share any information, she would lose, because then somebody else would get a competitive advantage. But that's not how the world looks today. This is the world today. It's all connected. The world is the one system. And when the world is one system, then it's a different story. It's about sharing. If you don't share, you will lose. So if you start sharing, then you start winning. I'm quoting Lasse Kristoffersson, the CEO of a Norwegian shipping company. It used to be, you share, you lose. Now it is, we share, we win. And I have to say, I really like films, so here's another one.
Modern maritime transport is a complex, demanding business where meeting customer requirements and deadlines are merely parts of a much bigger picture. But perhaps the biggest problem that exists here is that of communication. Developed in 2010, Mona Lisa was designed as a tool that would simplify shipping coordination in the Baltic region. During its development, however, a considerable number of new challenges and possibilities were brought to light. Unlike the airline industry with its global air traffic management network, the shipping industry has to rely on manually updated information. The problem lies in the fact that the flow of information is limited to a point-to-point exchange, instead of existing as a network that allows instant system-wide access to all relevant shipping data. This entails time-consuming work keeping up to date with traffic, port, cargo, weather, and safety information. What this means in the long run is a much bigger margin for potentially disastrous errors. Sea traffic management is a new concept that will enable open, real-time sharing and updating of information, solving many problems throughout the entire transport chain and providing an unprecedented overview of maritime activity. Each voyage will be given its own unique voyage number. This number works as a carrier of all relevant information concerning the planned voyage. In order to function, sea traffic management relies on all stakeholders adding new data as soon as it's made known, which is in turn instantly obtainable by all parties. This way, the amount of available information will grow as the voyage continues. From port of origin to destination, route exchange between ship and shore, from cargo carried to all relevant data and information, it will take the present mindset from need to know to need to share. Sea traffic management will be of great benefit for ports where goods are received or delivered. Booking times for berthing will be smoothly coordinated, and each port will be utilised with maximum efficiency. This in turn will simplify the freight process inland, leading to a more stable transport infrastructure. Navigation will also become far less problematic. Route optimization will ensure traffic safety, while boosting the economy through saved time and fuel, which in turn will radically reduce the industry's environmental footprint. Information exchange on this scale will also give emergency services such as police and search and rescue a strategic situational edge. With data that can be remotely accessed en route and on-site from wireless devices such as smartphones and tablets that will help coordinate operations and save lives. Coastal security and customs will also benefit from the Sea Traffic Management Information Network. By analysing traffic data, authorities can track and pinpoint suspicious vessel activity, reducing crime immeasurably. If we are to succeed in our goals to reduce emissions and increase safety and security with higher efficiency, we need to implement solutions like sea traffic management. Countless generations to come will depend on the implementation of innovative solutions that can lead us into a cleaner, safer future.
All right. So we see something about the maritime future. That's settled. So now let's look at the Baltic as a testbed. And why is such a good testbed? sea traffic management was developed in the Mona Lisa projects. It started with the first project in the Baltic Sea with 3 countries involved. And the results were promising, so the next project, Mona Lisa 2.0, a big project, a huge project, somebody said, big budgets, and it defined what sea traffic management can do. But sailors don't want a theory. They want to see the actual thing. So the current project is a validation project where we actually show these services and solutions built on a real platform. So what is happening? Over the years, this will develop, and there will be solutions coming off from all these projects, giving value to the industry, to authorities and to users. In my view, in 2030, there will be something similar to sea traffic management worldwide. It will. We're pushing it, and suddenly everything will come when the value is shown and people accept it. Currently, the 2 test beds in this project are in the Med and in the Baltic Sea, and some parts of the North Sea as well. This involves 13 ports, all the way from Umeå up in the Gulf of Bothnia down to Limassol on Cyprus. And there will be 300 vessels having equipment on board, being able to use the services. What do we need? What kind of services will we provide? Monitoring, enhanced monitoring. What will enhanced monitoring do? It will help Victoria, if she participates in this test, so that she doesn't run aground. Let's see if this is where she hit ground. She was supposed to take this route. She went 10 degrees off for 2 hours. Nobody noticed. That's a service that sea traffic management will have an offer to ships. So you get improved safety. Every ship can look at other STM ships and they can click on them. So I click on that ship and I can see where it plans to go. I can see the route of other ships. So I get a complete situational awareness on board. And so will they. So people will know more and have a better decision support. This is how much the safety can be improved. If you implement sea traffic management solutions like monitoring, flow optimization, and this exchange of routes, more than 60% less collisions and groundings. That's a lot. Ice navigation. This is what icebreakers do a lot. They go to ships that are stuck and they try to get them off. But when you got the route and you can send the detailed route, ice route out with very many waypoints, then fewer ships get stuck. So the icebreakers can spend their time keeping the ice routes open instead of assisting them that got stuck. And ice navigation, that's something that's the Baltic Sea is very good for. The European Maritime Simulator Network is an effect that we wanted to test situations where there are many ships involved. We don't want to do that in practice and say, let's get 100 ships into the Greater Belt and see what happens. You don't want to do that. But we can actually get 40 bridges with live people from Spain to Finland in different countries, different cultures on board, all being manned, and we can see what they will do. That's simulators activities led from Gothenburg, a part of the Baltic. Route optimization. These are services we will do. You can save up to, this is an example where we calculated, we could save 4% of the sail distance in the Kattegat, and that would be, if you had the same amount of time, 12% fuel. A lot of fuel. And this is an example of that Harry mentioned. This is Klaipeda, and those are the ferries to from Karlshamn to Lithuania, and most of the traffic comes this way. But what they happen to pass is a shallow area where sensitive birds are in the wintertime, etc. But if they would take this longer route, they would save 2% on fuel because it's not as shallow. So due to the squat effect, you save. And this is a good one. 1 month at Gothenburg, 18% of the ships anchor, and they anchor on average for 18 hours. If they just slow down the last 227 nautical miles, they would save 34% of the fuel on that distance. If you take that for all split among all the ships, all the traffic coming, that will be 4% of the total fuel consumption. And how much of the anchorage time would be left? It was 18 hours. How much did we get rid of? Guesses? All of it? No, actually, they still anchor 15 hours in average. So if you could actually get all those 15 hours on average into slower speed as well, we would save even more. So there's a huge potential, and I think that's the future. And it's all in the Baltic. The environmental impact, fewer accidents, fewer spill. You can have seasonal no-go areas, and we can have monitoring. You have fewer accidents, everything is better. So, what's next? Well, actually, there is a suggestion of a next project from connecting two ports, having a port-to-port connection, exchanging data on all the arrivals and departure time, delays, up-to-date information sharing. Another suggestion is to look at the flow of the traffic in between Sweden and Finland, especially for the bigger ferries, in order to avoid risk situations. Currently, they are talking a lot on the VHF, trying to avoid having meetings in narrow places. But if they start sharing route information electronically, they can have a better way of doing it. And the same goes for up this river. There are a lot of bridges and railroad bridges and road bridges, and you can time these if you start sharing the information. You can time it better and reduce the accident risks for the ships. What else? Real-time ferries. The ferries in the Baltic are planning on starting to sharing real-time information on their arrival and departure dates to get better traffic information for passengers, for goods, and for the hinterland operations of the railway planning and the road planning. So all these projects are planned in the Baltic, the testbed of the maritime future. What else is next? Tomorrow, there's disruption going on at the workshop, I think. That's where you're gonna find more ideas to work on, to make sure that the Baltic stays ahead and is really competitive and will be a big testbed for the maritime future. All right. It's getting closer to the end. So now it's really dark and cozy and comfy. It's getting to another film. Oh no, not yet. I'm sorry. This what will be the Uber of shipping? Any ideas? How can you Uberize shipping? Having just a digital layer and not owning anything. Where in shipping would that be? Yes, a suggestion.
There is something like ISO S100 data standards, which allows to share and use all data which is able to be shared in one standard, so everybody can see, I don't know, weather forecasts or weather information which is collected on every single unit on sea, this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And you could be the digital layer. You could be the service company who provides this to everybody. And then you get all the ships to send it to you and you share it and you take just a small percentage. Good idea. Another idea could be a shipping company who is actually focusing on the transport of the goods but don't own any ships. Well, we do have a kind of a Uber model in shipping already, because everything is split up, and we do work like this. It's really a mixed and so many players, and I think that there's an opportunity within every level here to have a company who will become the Uber of this, each part of it. No, he says, absolutely not. Perhaps not all of them, but many of them. I think there's an opportunity for digitization. And now, the movie you've all been waiting for.
Mona Lisa. From route exchange to time slot allocation and deep sea assistance, the planning of routes will be simplified and more cost efficient. And is that a cheese sandwich?
Cut! There's a f***ing sandwich in the ocean. No food on set.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Let's take a break.
5 minutes break, everybody.
Imagine not having a system managing sea traffic worldwide. Well, we actually don't need to imagine. There's no such system running today. From here, we're communicating e-navigation solutions on how to make sea traffic safer, more efficient, and climate-friendly worldwide. With Mona Lisa, we have created a concept never before seen in the maritime domain, influenced by other means of transportation. With sea traffic management, we provide all parties with common situation awareness. Much like a shoal of fish, each ship will know its position in relation to the others. Just picture what it will do to the logistic flow. Being able to not only see a single ship and its real-time ETA and geographical position along its route, but the whole chain, from land to sea and back to land again, and every ship it contains. Seeing the bigger picture also helps ensuring safety, avoiding accidents. So what about all the captains out there? They will love it. Finally, a community where reporting will be minimized and information can flow free between ships. And they will still be in command.
Huh, it's like Facebook for seafarers.
No, like the whole darn internet. We are now on the verge of launching a new project that will sustain the concept of sea traffic management. This project will have a larger impact, more partners, bigger test beds, bigger budgets. It will validate the concept to ease the implementation so that we can finally go to work. So this is where we're at now. But the fun of realizing all this still lies ahead of us. Until I see you again, take comfort in knowing that we keep working. Because in this world, we need safe systems, good sailors, and sturdy ships. Au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.
Now, if you just watch the list of partners, it's quite impressive. This is almost the best part of the film. To see so many industry partners, authorities, universities joining in to do this. And we are, as a project, open to more partners. So there are people joining us every month. There's a company from Hawaii who found us and has joined. And they will contribute to one of the future test beds in the Baltic. This is a lot of fun. If you haven't joined, join. And one of the reasons this is building is that we are communicating a lot. with films. If you're not seen, you're dead. That comes to a lot of projects that just ends up in a report. So it's really important to make sure that you are seen, and we have been seen, and that's comforting. Now you also have seen us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ulf. Very impressive film, and a small gift from Karlskrona.
Thank you.
To spend the weekend with, or something like that. Do we have any questions from the audience for Ulf? Or I will. Sure.
IHO is not a partner of it. They are part of our advisor group, and we also plan to give a presentation at their big committee Congress meeting. Please.
How is your project working together with the efficiency project, this Maritime Cloud?
Efficiency 2 and the Maritime Cloud. The Maritime Cloud will actually be the infrastructure that lies underneath all the different services that we are testing in the validation project. The Efficiency 2 project and the STM validation project are sister projects, and they are making sure when they were designed they are not doing the same work, they are complementary. Very close cooperation.
Marcus, any reflections?
Yeah, just a reflection. Thank you for a very nice presentation and the interaction and stuff like that. It's very impressive. But I was thinking of some time in the future this will need to be established. I mean, shipping is worldwide, not regional. So do you have any thoughts about legislation to get people to use this, or to use a common standard, or how is that being perceived at the moment in the project? Do you work with that at all, and if how?
Well, one of the major achievements of the former project was actually to establish an international standard, and there is a new international standard for route format and route exchange, how to send routes in a standardized manner. And that will help all systems to be able to communicate in one way instead of having different ways of communicating. So we want all standards coming out of this be international. We want all standards to be driven by the industry, because when authorities give out directions and regulations, it's could be sometimes the industry reaction is some hesitant. Yes, this project, this solution has global ambitions.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure about the answer to this, but is the National Single Window Directive part of this as well, or is that something that lies beside? Because that's also information being delivered to make all this happen. So how is the National Single Window Directive connected to Mona Lisa or STM?
The National Single Window Directive is setting out you need to send this information at this point in time. Sea traffic management is more like, let's share information in real time. And what we are looking at is there could be services that help fill the information to the national single window, so you don't have to enter it again. We are very supportive of the idea that BIMCO has, the Organization for Agents and Shipping Companies, that when it comes to actually setting a standard for every piece of information that goes into the reporting, that the 40 reports that every ship has to make when they make a port call. So we are looking at interfaces from the national single window. We would love to get the information they have, and to the national single window.
On the table.
Did you all hear his comment? That the STM project is receiving information from the national single window and looking at working on. So it's a good initiative. I know that on the European level, they are working on towards getting one European single window, and that would be helpful, I think, for everybody.
Think about France, who had 19 single windows. That's
Yes.
a multiple window solution
Yes.
instead.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was quite disappointed. It started out as the European single window, and it turned to European single windows, and that's already tough. But that's how it is.
Okay, thank you, Ulf. Give him a big hand. And I will try to start asking Marcus about this day, because this was the final bullet for today, and the summarize is a quite important part. Some quick reflections from the day, Marcus.
Yes, I think it has been a very valuable day. You have heard all the presentations ranging from, I wouldn't say pure technical presentations, but technical presentations that support the more, let's call it operational presentations that we have heard, and all the range in between. And I don't think we have heard any freestanding presentations. All the presentations and all the subjects that we have heard has been interlinked in one way or another. And the common denominator, I would say, would be research and development, and where should we put efforts, and where should we see that we can get quick benefits and quick solutions, or areas that will be more beneficial than others to work with. And I think I haven't come across, I don't know if you have done that. Please raise your voices in tomorrow or before we leave here. But if there are any problem areas, any areas of real that nobody's working with, that it's felt that this needs to be worked upon, but nobody's doing it, I think, at least I haven't seen any of those areas during this day so far, and that is very encouraging. And I think we will have a very good platform for the discussions tomorrow and for the work tomorrow. And I think that will be a summary of the presentation from my point of view at this stage.
That's good. Peter, could you please join us here? Since you will be most active part of tomorrow's discussions. What are your reflections of the day?
Marcus told almost the most of the things, but one thing Ulf said to me was that there was a company in Hawaii. Yes, I'm a volunteer for going there if you need someone. So I don't know, that was summary for me.
Yeah.
Marcus said the most.
I was thinking of one thing, we discussed it earlier a bit, is the maritime business considered as being reactive or proactive in general terms? Are you responding to things that is happening, or you try to avoid them? Is there any lessons learned in the business?
Oh, I don't know if I'm the man to answer that. But
exactly that question at this hour of the day.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
I said reactive, yes or no.
Yeah. Okay, doke. Marcus, you have anything more to add?
About the same question, I think it's both things. I mean, it's proactive because you see things that can be developed further in order to save time, money, environment, and so on. And the other reactive thing, it's when something bad happens, when you run aground or you lose cargo or whatever, what happens, a fire or whatever. Then you have a mechanism that take care of how to do this better next time, so that this event doesn't occur again, or you reduce the risk. And I think the shipping sector is very good at doing that, because it's also, I mean, you should save lives, you should save money, you should save environment, and those are very good drivers for the shipping industry as a whole.